going on, people? Myke C-Town here. Happy Metal Monday! So typically with these videos, I'll review a newer metal album as well as an older metal album. But today, we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a guest, and he goes by the name of Rich Owens, or Rich O. He does written album reviews, book reviews, as well as interviews. He also does YouTube videos where he shows vinyl and just kind of talks shit. You know what I'm saying? Just like I talk shit. I like motherfuckers that talk shit. So yeah, we're going to give our opinions about the new Cattle Decapitation entitled The Anthropocene Extinction. So let's get this shit going, y'all. So tell me, what did you think?
I thought it was good.
All
right, see you later. Okay, cool.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
That's right. No, I really liked it. I think I've been trying to decide if it's become my favorite Cattle Decapitation album. I'm really not sure. It's one of like the most consistent with like the standards of songs, like, and it flows perfectly throughout. Like, it's just vicious all the way through. And it's got like a few nice breaking up points, but it doesn't interrupt the flow too much. Yeah, I just think it's fucking brutal. It's crazy. Absolutely mental.
Well, I'll say, like, when I first heard about this album coming out and I saw the cover art, I was like, okay, this looks like it's gonna be fucking awesome. Just from the cover art, I was like, okay, I can't wait to fucking hear this album. And on first listen, I think I told you, I was just like, or maybe I just put it on Twitter as a general tweet, but I was just like, I'm not really loving it.
Yeah, you did.
It was mostly due to the fact that I didn't care for the vocals. Not the rough vocals or the scream vocals. It was those cleans, those like those vocals for some reason just like they killed the entire album for me. And like the music was rad. And I remember we did get a little bit of those cleans on Monolith, but for some reason it didn't bother me as much as it did on this album. But did that bother you at all, those weird cleans?
No, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, it's like it's all the cleans like you're referring to. Is it sort of like, how can you look me in the eye, like that sort of stuff? Is it that those vocals?
Yeah, it just sounds like a weird like fucking Lord of the Rings troll or something. Like, I don't know. It just didn't sound. It didn't go at first. Like, I mean, I've listened to the album a shit ton of times now, so those vocals don't bother me anymore. But on first listen, they were just like jarring for me.
I think that's a bit far though, because like I had no problem. They actually like some of my favorite moments on the album, like vocally, and I don't know, like I've been thinking about this because like Fantano said as well, he called them clean vocals, but they don't feel like clean vocals to me at all. Like they still feel like pretty dirty and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the way, like the image like it strikes up in my head is like, do you know like when like pigs are like scared or like hurt and they do that sort of like ear piercing sort of squeal, like you can feel like the panic and like the hurt.
Okay.
To me, that's what it makes me think of, and like, you know, with like the nature of Cattle Decapitation's music, is just like, yeah, this sort of like reinforces their point a little bit. To me, anyway. I think Travis is like a lot more understandable than he's ever been on this album, even with like the growls and stuff like that and the gutturals. Like, I think he's just like, yeah, you can make out like the lyrics a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing that he still manages to keep like brutality and, you know, the clearance.
Yeah, I love his vocals on this, the rough and the scream, and the lyrics on this are just fucking amazing. I mean, their lyrics have always been good to me, but it seems like he's just getting better and better with each album. His lyrics are getting more and more interesting, and the whole apocalyptic feel that he puts off in his lyrics are just really, really, really cool. Like I'll say, for instance, "Mammals in Babylon," like, which is one of my favorite songs on this whole
It's
album.
my favorite as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
It's like super melodic, but it's like really, really, really intense the whole way through. It's just fucking killer. But the lyrics are just awesome. What other songs on here fucking blew you away?
I think like the quote earlier, "Not suitable for life." I really enjoyed that one. And then what was the other one? Is it? I can't remember now. Is it "Plague"? Something awful. I just forgot it. But it's the one with like that industrial sort of like beat in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like the third track.
Okay. All right.
Take one.
I mean, yeah, they're all fucking killer.
It's like all the tracks. I love them all, like my children.
I love them all equally.
Yeah, there's no favorites. What were your like favorites and like apart from Mammals in Babylon?
Manufactured Extinct, which was the opener, which I mean, the music itself, even on first listen, I was just like, the music itself is just incredible. Like, it has this epic feel to it, the way it starts, and that song throughout is just killer. But again, those vocals were throwing me off. But another song that I loved is "Clandestine Ways." It starts off with that Morbid Angel.
Yeah.
And like the drumming on these songs, I mean, of course, you know, the weird thing about this album, I'm not typically into like tech death or like really polished death metal like that. It seems like the older and older I get, the less and less I like my metal to be produced. But this record is so clean and so perfectly produced that it sounds amazing. Like, you can hear everything. Like, to me, it sounds way better than their last album.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. It's mixed way better, in my opinion, especially with guitars.
Yeah. They're much higher in the mix. On Monolith, even though I liked that album, I couldn't really tell too much what the guitars were actually doing. But on this album, I could hear them perfectly.
At some moments, like it really felt like it was a little bit like Behemoth in the way like how the guitars and drums sort of like played off each other. Like the drums would be doing one thing and the guitar would be doing the other, and then it just like sort of intertwined and stuff. And like Behemoth do that a lot, in my opinion. And like I felt it again on like this album. It was just blown away. Absolutely blown away. Great songwriting. Yeah,
the songwriting here is absolutely stellar. And yeah, you mentioning Behemoth, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I can definitely see the similarities because, I mean, these are both heavy bands, but their songwriting is just incredible. Like, it's like everything that they do on this album, it has a purpose. It's like, it's not like crazy and fast and messy grind just for the sake of being extreme. It seems like everything had its purpose. Every note, every drum hit, it just seems like everything was just perfectly planned out and laid out. Like, and we don't have that kind of really, really good songwriting in death metal a lot. Like, a lot of bands just want to be heavy and want to be evil. Like, these guys seem like they have a point to make and they're doing it with their music, but like really, really, really thought out.
Like a lot of like death metal these days is sort of disposable, and like a lot of it could like go over your head and there's nothing memorable or whatever. But like with this album, Cattle managed to put like a fingerprint on each song, and like I mean they all stand out, all of them.
Yeah, that is a good point. A lot of death metal albums, you put it on, and it's like if there's 10 tracks, you got 1 through 10, they pretty much, they all sound very similar. But this album is very different. It's a different type of songwriting.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something as well. What did you think of like the interludes?
It's like a minute and a half long, I think, right?
Yeah, it was like that drony sort.
That's all. It was awesome.
Number. Yeah, like I don't know. I could have listened to like a 10-minute version of that, But then, like, it would have just fucked up the flow for the whole album. But that's just me. I really loved hearing that, like, drawn on sort of like a death metal, like going. I don't know. It just like really fitted like the atmosphere really well.
No, I definitely agree. I actually think they could have done a couple more of those, and it would have worked out really well. Like, I was fine with the way the tracks were, but if they threw a couple more of those drony kind of sounds in there, I'd have been fine with it.
It was like a few moments where it was sort of like industrial feelings as well, like the beginning of Plague Born.
Yes.
But yeah, like I know like Travis is very into his like industrial and noise stuff as well, and it was interesting to see like that influence come in on this album.
They should do it more.
Yeah, I agree. That's what death metal needs, more industrial.
Yes, I agree. So overall, what's your standing on this one?
I thought it was an excellent album. I think it may just be my favorite Cattle Decapitation album, which is a lot to say after Monolith. But yeah, I think this is a great album. I think Cattle Decapitation over the last 3 albums have gone better and better with each one. I honestly don't know how they're going to go on from here, and I'm going to be really excited to see like what comes from that. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think so few death metal bands put this much work into an album? Do you think that they don't have the talent? Do you think they don't have the capacity? Or do you think that they just don't care to do that?
I think it's like a mixture of all 3. Like a lot of like modern death metal, I'm just not that bothered about it unless it includes like influences outside, like, you know, like black metal, doom, sludge. That's why I love bands like Drought in Sunlight, Father Be Fouled, like stuff like that, Portal. That's why I like that stuff, because like it sounds different than just normal death metal. But with like a lot of sort of straightforward death metal, it's just, I think it repeats the same ground too often. I don't know. That's my personal feeling. It's too familiar.
I totally agree with you. I really enjoyed Monolith, and I had the same feeling of what can they do after that. And again, when I saw the cover art, I was instantly stoked, but I didn't want to get too hyped because I made that mistake with the last At the Gates album, and it was fucking hard. They, you know, following up Slaughter of the Soul, I kind of was hoping that it would be amazing. With these guys following up Monolith, I was like, well, I really hope they do a good job, but I don't want to get my hopes up too much. I got my hopes up, and they actually did a better album than Monolith, which I'm amazed by. So I agree with you 100%, man. I think this might be my favorite Cattle Decapitation album. And even with the vocals, which still kind of get under my skin, but now that I'm going to think about it now when I listen to it, I'm going to think about the whole pig thing that you just said, and maybe that'll make me like them a little bit more. But yeah, really enjoyed this album. I cannot wait to get it on vinyl, and I wish I could see them live, but they're not playing Atlanta. They're playing Florida, and then they're skipping over my state to go to North Carolina, which I don't fucking understand, but whatever. Either way, yeah, this fucking album's killer.
All killer, no filler.
Yes. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me about this album.
It's been awesome.
Sweet. Thanks a lot, dude. And everybody, make sure you go and subscribe to Rich's channel. I will put the link in the description section down there. And yeah, you know how we do. Thank you for living. Thank you for loving. Thank you for being you. And I will see you guys next time. All right?